Welcome to the very first episode of Undercurrent. I am Mehtap Arslan. For as long as I can remember, I have been less interested in what people do and more interested in why they do it. Maybe that's why I ended up spending more than 25 years working in HR, transformation, leadership, and organizational change. Over the years, I've worked on digital transformations, operating model redesigns, mergers and acquisitions, restructurings, and large-scale change programs. And I've noticed something interesting. Many transformations don't fail the way we think they fail. The technology gets implemented, the new structure goes live, the training gets delivered, the project is officially completed. And yet, somewhere underneath the surface, something feels off. People seem exhausted. Managers become overwhelmed. Teams quietly return to old habits. The energy that existed at the beginning slowly disappears. And organizations often call this resistance to change. But I've never been completely convinced that's what's happening. Because when you speak to employees, most of them actually understand the change. Many even agree with it. They understand why the organization is changing. They understand the business logic. They understand what leadership is trying to achieve. And yet, the behavior doesn't change. So that raises a different question. What if understanding is not the problem? What if people already understand perfectly well what leadership is asking them to do? And what if the real challenge is something much more human? Because underneath every transformation, people are asking questions they rarely say out loud. Like, will I still be successful here? Will I still matter? Will I be able to learn what's expected of me? What happens if I get it wrong? And when those questions remain unanswered, people naturally return to what feels familiar. Not because they are stubborn, not because they are resistant, because familiar feels safer. And honestly, this is not just an organizational issue. It's a human one. Most of us already know we should exercise more, eat better, sleep more, set healthier boundaries. The information is not missing. The challenge is turning awareness into sustained behavior. Organizations face exactly the same problem, which is why, over time, I've become increasingly interested in what happens underneath the visible parts of transformation. The hidden dynamics, the emotional reactions, the habits, assumptions, unspoken fears. The things that never appear on a project plan but often determine whether change actually sticks. That's why I call this podcast Undercurrent. Because beneath every transformation initiative, every operating model redesign, every AI program, and every organizational change effort, there are human beings trying to make sense of uncertainty. And I believe we spend far too much time talking about the visible parts of transformation, and not nearly enough time talking about what is happening underneath. In future episodes, we will explore those hidden dynamics together. Why training often creates awareness but not capability. Why organizations drift back into silos during periods of pressure. Why managers become the emotional shock absorbers of change. And why some transformations succeed, not because they move faster, but because they create the conditions for people to move with them. Thank you for joining me, and welcome to Undercurrent.